and welcome to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be doing a distance energy work session for changing your life. Changing your life. If you are someone who finds yourself in a sort of never-ending loop, kind of making the same mistakes over and over again, or maybe feeling a little bit stagnant where you are, my hope is that this distance Reiki work that we will be doing for this session can help to propel you out of that loop, or help you burst forth and burst free of that blockage. Okay. So I'm going to start by doing an energy clearing. And for this, we're going to start with a little bit of sage. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a Reiki Master practitioner. I love ASMR. And I think a lot of the qualities and the benefits of ASMR really help to complement this kind of energy work. For example, in my Reiki practice, one of the objectives during a session is to help you feel as relaxed as possible so that you can start to shut down the mind, start to recognize what's going on in the body. When we can start to relax, sometimes it helps us to recognize things that are happening deeper within us. Deeper within us. I have had a lot of you new subscribers recently, so I never want that to go unnoticed, and I just want to thank you all so much for hitting that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me, and it helps me do this. So I do see you, and I just want you to know that I'm very grateful for you showing that support. So thank you. We'll go ahead and light our sage now. We have an ear-to-ear microphone set up here, so hopefully if you have headphones in, this is nice. Even if you don't, hopefully it helps to create a more kind of enveloping experience. I've started growing my own sage, so it was inspired by a farm where I stayed last year, where I got a lot of my sage. And so I'm hoping that I can harvest that soon make my own sage bundles. So moving through your energy fields, clearing and cleansing with the smoke, clearing and cleansing. Clearing and cleansing. This part of the process can really help us to arrive here with a clean slate. Okay, great. I'm going to do a little bit further clearing with my selenite wand. Rather than going through like this, we're going to be doing kind of more pulling, plucking, mainly here in the mental plane. Pulling any cyclical, repetitive thought patterns, clearing and cleansing here. Selenite is a really great stone for energetic cleansing, purifying, and clearing. There we go, good job. That's good. Great. Okay, lovely. Okay. Now we're going to light our candle and set our intention for this session. If you would like to participate a little bit more, then you can join, help ignite the flow of this healing energy passing between us at this time. Passing between us at this time. on behalf of your highest, wisest, most empowered and aligned self, in loving comfort and perfect balance, I wish to conduct this distance Reiki session for igniting change into your life, for growth and evolution of your soul. If you would like to clarify or specify or even set your own intention, feel free to do that now. And as long as it's in service of your and everyone else's highest and wisest selves, I'll honor that intention here. Okay, I'm going to place this candle here to flicker away throughout our session. This is an Tara healing incense. I'm going to be using this to draw the sacred symbols outside of your heart center. I usually break these in half and use them. I love that smell. But I'm going to use the whole stick this time, lighting it off our candle to preserve that intention. And then after we draw the symbols, we'll use the smoke to clear anything not in service of that intention. You can tell it's a bit thicker than typical stick incense. Great. So if you wanted to take a few deep, rejuvenating breaths, this would be a great time to begin calling in some attention, breath and body, breath and body, the first pillar of mindfulness. Breath and body, breath and body. Bit of a scan, if you want, in your physical body, inviting in loving attention listened to a Dharma talk recently about radical attention, radical awareness. It's a beautiful thing to begin bringing our attention to the places that we sometimes ignore. So let's just give ourselves permission here to attend to those places. Now I'm going to begin drawing the symbols just outside of your heart center here, my dear. Love drawing the symbols with the incense, even though you can't see it. The smoke trails behind the characters. It's really beautiful. I've had a few of you ask me why I don't show the symbols. It's a fair question. I was just taught that the symbols are passed down from master to teacher. Master teacher to student. Master teacher to student. And so I was just taught not to, that they're sacred symbols. But I also don't care. I don't have it's a hard and fast rule. And I think my teacher shares them sometimes. So. But that's the reason why. So when I first became a practitioner, that was just how I was done. So clearing and cleansing here. Clearing and cleansing. Gorgeous. I'm now going to use a little bit of aura mist to thicken up your aura. This has some citrus and some tea tree, using the menthol and the properties of the citrus to lighten and brighten, focus and lift, rising up. Spraying to your right, to your left, down at your feet, and above your beautiful head. I'm going to draw the symbols in the palms of my hands, and then we'll begin playing around in your aura here. Okay. Just the activation symbol in my palm. So, as I do this scan here, I wanted to begin chatting about this idea of changing your life, transformative action, transformational action. One aspect of this channel that I try to create or adhere to, I guess, is I really want this to be a safe space where you can come to feel supported, where you can come to feel protected and cared for. I care for you, and I think it's pretty clear in the comments that you care for each other, and it's really, really beautiful to me. A real great joy, and something for which I'm incredibly grateful every day is the beautiful community that you've created here. So, thank you. And it's not that I want this video to have a different intention. I want this video to be very supportive. But for this session, there's going to be a little bit more tough love. So bear that in mind if you're feeling really sensitive. I think it's nice to provide options depending on where you are in your journey. Sometimes we need to be validated and cared for, and someone to sort of stroke our brow and tell us we're going to be okay, that we're perfect just as we are, perfectly imperfect. And that's true. And sometimes we need to ignite that fire deep within to invite in radical change and transformation. So that's just what I wanted to start with here. I'm going to place a few stones, and I'm going to start by placing this piece of fluorite right on your third eye. So it's very smooth on the side. You're going to look like a wonderful unicorn. Just there. Beautiful. Lovely. Now I'd like to place this piece of Amazonite on your throat center. It's very gentle. This is going to be great for fortitude. It's like the Amazon River, ever changing and evolving. It flows, and it's an encouragement to keep up with that flow. I'm going to place a stone on your crown now. Place this amethyst here on your crown. A little cluster. Just right at the very top of your head. Gorgeous. So now we have our amethyst spiritually aligning, inviting in a tunnel of energy from the cosmos. The fluorite here, indigo fluorite, great for focus, organization of those mental components, of these different compartments in your mind, and how we can put them into some kind of organized formation, sense of focus, a sense of ascension as well here in both of those stones. And like I said, the Amazonite, also that fortitude of Amazonian women, strong, fierce, deep healing waters. And now for the heart center, another stone of fortitude. This is dragon blood Jasper. Probably my favorite stone for that fortitude and moxie. That energy that says, that resilience. You dust yourself off. I don't know why I did this. I'm flicking my hair. Dusting yourself off. Picking yourself up. Doing it again. I can do this. You can do this. You got this. You have the strength, the spunk, the moxie, the fortitude. You can do this. If you want it, it's yours. There's a lot of work, but you can do it. Lovely. Now for our solar plexus, we have this sunstone, great stone for leadership, for seeing the silver lining. There are hard times, there are challenges, there are obstacles that we can pierce through like the sun on a cloudy day. It's a great one for entrepreneurs as well. So if the thing you want to change in your life has to do with being a leader, or maybe starting your own business, or just getting out of that rut, I think this is a great one for that. It's a very sunny stone. So this particular stone is part of my collection. One way to charge a stone is if you're feeling particularly charged yourself and you have a collection of stones, you can use it for anything really. Any kind of object that you want to store this energy in. On a day when you wake up and you just feel bright and sunny and positive and happy, and you kind of, those days where you're sort of like, feels like I'm floating, this is a good day. Good day. And the same thing, this could happen on a different day and they would feel insurmountable. But for some reason the challenge is on those days. Water off a duck's back. One of those kinds of days, that kind of energy. I take this stone if I'm having that kind of day, and I'll place it in my palms, and I'll send this energy into the stones, to this particular stone. And a few others that I do that too in my collection. Has a lot of really great positive energy, so I hope you feel it. I'm going to place this right on your solar plexus, 2 to 3 fingers above your belly button, just there. Gorgeous. Now, I'm going to place a carnelian, it's a large stone, on your sacral, 2 to 3 fingers beneath your belly button. This is a great stone for nurturing, helping you move through emotions. This is going to be great for supporting us in an aspect of this session, which is all about sitting in discomfort. More on that later. This is also a great supportive stone for creativity, helping invite that sense of creative balance and harmony. So I'm going to be placing this 2-3 fingers beneath your belly button, just there. This should be a really supportive, gentle stone. It's heavy, but smooth, comfortable. Okay. Now for the root chakra, I have 2 stones that I'm going to be playing with. Similar size and shape. This is a red Jasper, and this is a fire agate. This is a cool stone. It's similar to labradorite in the sense that there are these little surprise flashes, and usually it's warmer tones, but sometimes it's all kinds of crazy. If you've never seen a fire agate before, you can Google it. They're really cool. But this one has yellow kind of fiery flashes and some orange and red in there as well. So these 2 stones I'm going to place outside of your hips just to ground you. Fire agate is a great stone for really igniting that fiery side of you. If you are someone who tends to, if you get a bit irascible or you're quick to incense, you might not want to use this if you have, any anger issues or struggle with that, because it can be quite potent in the root chakra. But I wanted to invite this with a small piece, so hopefully it should be pretty balancing for everyone. But you just might want to be aware of that if you do struggle with any anger issues. But I'm going to be placing that there just to ignite this change. Very often, a lackadaisical, comfortable situation doesn't always inspire change, radical transformation. So I really want to put some fire up your booty. Placing that outside of your left hip there, okay? And then with our red Jasper, this is just a great stone for courage and strength. It's a great stone for grounding and moving from a place of true centered energy. When you're feeling centered, balanced, and grounded, you can then move in a very, very strong, direct course. Alright, placing this outside of your right hip there. Gorgeous. So now I'm going to take this clear quartz and we're going to move through. And I'm going to activate all of these stones. And we're going to start to do a little bit of this deeper healing here. So let's go to this sense of repeated mistakes that we touched on at the beginning of this session. If one repeated mistake comes to mind, or repeated action that you'd like to break free from comes to mind, I just encourage you now to hold space for that. Bring attention to that. And as we move down your body, see where that, whatever that mistake is, whatever that loop of a similar action that you want to break, see where that might live in your body. that usually shows up when we bring attention to it as tension, discomfort, tightening. In a sense, when we invite anything involving shame, very often we want to cling onto something that feels safe energetically in our body. We want to hold tight to what we know, challenging that shame or that mistake or whatever this elicits is scary to our ego, because the one thing that scares our ego more than anything is this kind of radical transformation. The ego is all about keeping us safe and protected. We develop all kinds of mechanisms to keep us safe, but sometimes those mechanisms actually keep us quite small. And if we want to expand, and if we want to grow, and if we want to transform, break through these blockages and invite new, fresh energy, a new perspective, if we want to change our lives, we have to release, let go, or be dragged. The Dharma teacher, his teacher says that, but I can't remember her name right now, or I would credit her. So where does that live, whatever this is, this thing you want to change radically about your life, or even just mentioning that, or mentioning even the word shame, mentioning the word mistake, where does that sit for you? And now if you've located where that might be, just invite some awareness into that space. See if you can breathe into that area. Even just imagine breathing into that space. See what you can find here. Very often, what can happen when we are met with a mistake that we've made, or when we're met with some kind of challenge to how we've been moving through life, some kind of obstacle that feels larger than we're used to or familiar with. Or even if it's just the loop itself, that loop. Sometimes we get caught in this ping pong back and forth between two very unproductive and really unhelpful modes of thinking. We can often get caught in shame or denial. And everyone is different, obviously. And as we are speaking about things that are pretty, shame is very deep and we really need to give it the attention it deserves. So as always, I always leave a hotline in my description box. And so if you're really struggling, that's there. There are, in your local area, you might be able to find a warm line where you can speak to someone if you're having some mental health issues. I know not everywhere has these, but you could just start looking into that. But I mean, therapy is always great. I think it's one of the best things I did for myself. I think it's one of the most powerful things we can do. It's really start to understand what's happening here and what we have done and how we can do things differently. So just wanted to mention that as we are speaking about something that's a bit more intense today. But so let's talk about this cycle that sometimes happens. We can make a mistake, and this could be maybe you're trying to really change your life when it comes to health, maybe physical health. So let's say you're on your physical health journey, whatever that means, and you have a slip up or a mistake. And there's a few ways that we go to kind of protect ourselves. Sometimes we go directly to shame, and that really breaks my heart. This shame, so unhelpful, isn't it? Shame that says, why did you think you could do this? You can't do this. And I just want you to know you're not alone in feeling that way. I don't know if that helps. My intention is for it to feel empowering, but you're not alone there. People that you might even look up to, might see as someone who could never experience or relate to that, they will. We all have shame in some way or another. Most of us do. So just know that that's a very natural reaction to you trying to protect yourself by trying to stay small, I think. And Brené Brown talks about the things that we can do to kind of push shame away, and that shame cannot exist in the light. So if you share your shame, if you communicate your shame, it will diminish. There are a few more, but we can touch on those later. I want to do a few videos about this subject. But really, we can then swing into the opposite reaction, which is, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't need this. I'm fine without this. So we kind of go into the denial phase and start to lose sight of why we were working so hard towards that in the first place. And my example is a bad one, so I can try and come up with a different example to help you. But if there's a mode of thinking that you're trying to move through or move past, if you have addictive tendencies that you're trying to move through or move past, the shame cycle of that addictive tendency or those thought loops can really send us spiraling off. The other side of that is denial, where we aren't really in touch or connected to our wants, our needs, why we were there, the truth of this journey in the first place. So the way that I think we can radically change our lives, the first step, and I think one of the most powerful steps that we can take, is all about recognizing and acknowledging our mistakes for exactly what they are. No more, no less. sometimes when we are in this, we can either spin off to shame or disassociation. We can't go. We don't want to be in that. We don't want to sit in that feeling. So we either check out or we might start really beating ourselves up. Kind of fight or flight, freeze and fawn, kind of a combination of both. Because you could say that shame is another form of escapism in a way too. But as we invite awareness into the exact truth, because we messed up, because we made a mistake, that, that doesn't say anything at all about our sense of worth. The two aren't even connected. They're not even related. Your actions, what you do, that has nothing to do with your inherent sense of worth, I believe. You are so worthy. You are magnificent. And sometimes you might fuck up. And the two have nothing to do with each other. So I think if we can start to separate that shame from taking responsibility for our actions and start to recognize when we are disassociating, maybe saying, oh, well, I did this, so I'm just going to keep doing it. Well, it's done now. Or this wasn't even a big deal to me. I didn't even really want to change. Or we start going on a different narrative, playing those mind games. The encouragement here and the invitation is to sit with, you know what? I fucked up. I fucked up. That doesn't feel good. Sit with that for a moment. It's a really uncomfortable, sometimes insanely painful process. But when we continue to ping pong back and forth between deep shame and that denial or disassociation, I find that we don't ever allow ourselves to really push through that blockage. We don't ever really allow ourselves to ascend, to evolve and transform. And you deserve that transformation if that's what you want. So often, when we receive these impulses to do something to transform our lives, when we have that feeling of like, I just want to change this, or oh, if I could only, I'm trying to think of examples that we've shared in the comments here, and also that you and I have spoken about, whether that's in sessions or what have you. This example of, I want to do this differently, I want to show up differently, I want to radically change my life because it's not working, something isn't working. That feeling, that's all in the gut. That is all in the third eye. That's your gut and your intuition telling you, hey, there's something here. Let's attend to that. Let's bring attention. So I want to encourage you, where you can, to invite a real attention to that process. What happens after you make a mistake? And I would just encourage you to just pause if it's possible. If it's available for you to take a pause after you fuck up, just take a pause. Take a pause and try your best to just sit with it. if shame is really hard to keep at bay, again, this is definitely something that you want to be moving through with your mental health care provider. It's something that you want to be coping with on a regular basis. Obviously, that's your mental health, and this is the spiritual practice to support that. Again, just want to make that little disclaimer. But if you are finding yourself constantly going into that shame, I think a good place to start is with just some affirmations that really resonate with you. Like, let's say it's something to do with productivity, that you're having this blockage, and you keep going, oh my gosh, I'm on fire for a couple of days, and then I feel unproductive, and then I kind of slip up, I make a mistake, and then I drop the ball a couple of times, or can't get off the couch, or I'm having a really hard time kind of motivating, or whatever it is. So if that's the example, and then the second that you make that mistake, you go straight into, I've never been able to do this. I'm never going to be able to do this. Why did I think I could? I'm so bad. I'm so wrong. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I'll never be as good as XYZ, as that person, as this person. I can't do, if those voices, that nagging little asshole starts talking to you, which again, it's so natural. But really, that little voice is an asshole. So if that continues to happen, I just want to encourage you to start with these affirmations. I am worthy just as I am. I can fucking do this. Because you can fucking do this. Here's what I want. Connecting with what you want is so important when you're moving through these things that are so challenging. Changing our lives, growing, getting physically healthy, mentally kind of restructuring the way that we respond to things. I mean, these things are incredibly difficult. You can do it. Trusting that you can. Saying, I am so strong. I am so capable. I got this. You got this. I can do this. You can do this. And you are perfectly imperfect and so lovable and wonderful and amazing and beautiful exactly as you are right now, in this moment, and this moment, and this one, just as you are. Okay? You have great value exactly as you are. And if you can start to try to connect with that, start to invite in the process. Again, all of these things are hard, but just inviting in the practice of these affirmations, this positivity, having a stone that you can use to inspire that. Tiger's Eye is a great one to inspire that kind of strength. Just looking at that stone and saying, I got this. Hold that I got this energy in that stone. When you're in the on fire productive zone, put that energy into a stone, or even, anything, a candle, matches, whatever it is. Put it somewhere so that you can return to that, to remind you, oh yeah, I got this. I can do this. Not sure if this conversation and this subject is almost too specific to resonate. So this might be a video that is just intended for a few of you, but I know that this has continued to come up, these kind of blockages around this, so I wanted to make sure that I gave attention to this subject. Hold my hands on your sacral here. 2 to 3 fingers beneath your belly button. Inviting in support for these emotions. When you start to think, or when you start to feel, I can't feel this right now. I don't want to feel this. I just encourage you to just pause. Because I think if you keep ignoring this feeling that keeps coming up, it's gonna resurface, and it's gonna resurface in ways that are even more painful, because all it wants is attention. I know sometimes it can feel like our feelings can eat us alive and really take over. So I want to invite support for you here. Support for you here. And love. Do me a favor, if you start going into this and start practicing this, and you can't move from I'm terrible to I fucked up, I did something wrong, and you just stay in I'm terrible, I'm the worst. Take a pause. Place your hands 2 to 3 fingers beneath your belly button, on your low belly. Place your hands there and just say to yourself, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay just as I am. I'm worthy of belonging, of love and care. Just as I am. And because I'm worthy, and because I'm enough, because you are enough, I deserve to learn and grow and expand and change my life. I deserve to do these things. So I'm going to learn from this mistake because I deserve to. Because you deserve to live the life of your dreams, whatever that means to you. And I want that for you so badly. Beautiful. You are divine. You are connected. You are expressive. You are loved. You are strong. You are emotionally balanced and supported. You are safe. You are grounded. You are worthy. much for joining me for this energetic healing session. I hope that you found it helpful. I hope that you felt supported, and also maybe we can shake up that energy a little bit so we can get you out of patterns so you can change your life, my dear, if that's what you're looking to do. Okay, I'm going to move through with this owl rattle, and then we're going to close our session. I'm going to start at your crown. Okay. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or night. I'm sending you so much love, so much support. And I just want you to know that you can do this once you start to take responsibility for your actions in an honest way, not taking too much that doesn't belong to you, and not taking nothing, taking exactly what is your responsibility to carry and being honest about it. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you're the worst person in the world. And just because you make a mistake, it doesn't mean that the world has somehow victimized you. And we can just sit with exactly what's ours and what's actually true and all of that, and sit with that. I think once we begin that practice of taking responsibility, I think then we can really invite radical transformation. That's my hope. Again, I'm sending you so much love. Thank you so much for being here until the end of the session. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. And I'll see you again very soon. Okay. Until then, be well. Be well. Can you come up on the pillow? She just wants cuddles. Come on. And just doing a little bit of balancing and aligning. That always happens when I'm trying to do it like up here. I wish to call in guidance from these cards. I love metallic sounds. There's like clicky clacky sounds. But it does have kind of a funny smell. I'm not gonna lie, when I first used it I was like, what is that? But invite some more mindfulness and some of this energy work that we've been engaging in.